Today, for reasons I can't quite remember, I'll be building a prison in which every building looks like a randomly generated emoji. My goal is to create the most attractive and interesting prison I can. I do need to tread quite carefully here. Prisons have certain rooms which are fairly dark in terms of content. I have a feeling I won't get away with making one of those into a smiley face. But anyway, this is our first generation. I want to make a cell block to start, it's the obvious choice. We've got some great choices here. No clue what that flag's for. Got a two-dimensional M&M. That's definitely a medal for participation, it's got nothing written on it. And a confusing symbol, which I suppose means towel radiator. Just for simplicity's sake, I think I'll start off with the spanner. That seems like a really good shape for a cell block. This is finally a chance to showcase my artistic ability. Brilliant, that's 2 lines down. I'm hoping I can fit at least 10 prisoners in here, and once we get some prisoners in, we can then worry about their needs, which seems like a perfectly fine order to do things in. Yeah, we'll get you food, but only when you tell us. Already, this is not looking like a spanner. No, this looks more like a tulip. How am I ever going to make like a cat or a dog? Hold on, come to think of it, I'm just placing the walls, not the actual foundations, so this isn't yet a building. So far this is going brilliantly. This has to be perfectly symmetrical, else people will hate me. You know what, this isn't a spanner, this is a bone. How would you possibly use a spanner like this? You couldn't even get it around a bolt, or whatever it is you use spanners on. I'm trying to make this look as perfect as I possibly can. Right, so this is about 12 cells? That should be enough. It's quite important I get the colour of this right, so that it actually does look like a spanner. Well, I say colour, it's just grey, and this is a big grey building. Someone in the construction team is a bit incompetent. They placed the door and then decided, no, this isn't secure at all, we need to put a wall directly behind it. Then no one can get in or out of the place. Someone's getting a promotion. You know, I think if the rest of the place has a bit more colour to it, someone could look at this, and there's a possibility they could say that it looks like a spanner, and that to me feels like a success. Right, so just while they build the rest of that, I'm going to generate the next emoji. Cells and other rooms need a source of power, so this room's just going to be something to contain a generator. I probably don't need a room for this, but just to keep it fairly secure and enclosed, I'm going to go for that. We've got some great choices here. A wire would make a lot of sense, although I'm not sure I can fit a generator in that. Just a really stretchy, long, thin generator around the outskirts. Oh, I thought those were like 2 knights with gold helmets leaning back against each other. That's what's called praying. That bear has definitely killed someone. I'm just saying, with a face like that, you've done something awful. I think for the challenge, I might go for the Mona Lisa. Is that the Mona Lisa? I think it is. I mean, I did say I want to showcase my artistic ability, so this seems like a good place to do it. At least it's easy to create the correct shape, although I wouldn't trust myself. It's basically a circle. Hopefully for this one, I can just pick out some flaws that look about the right colour and mould that into the face of the Mona Lisa. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to mix the generator into this though. Right, I'm going to start with the hair. That feels like quite a good place to go for. So far this is not looking like hair. All of the paths before you actually place them down look completely identical. This is going to be impossible. I think just ordinary wood should be a decent kind of skin tone. Just don't place any wood too low down, that might breach the YouTube terms of service. Okay, there's a weird kind of blue metal-y material I'm going to use as the sky. Is there actually a sky in the Mona Lisa? I don't know. I think it's fair that I say I can't use any reference images. That is kind of cheating. I don't need to do observational drawing. I'm an incredibly talented artist. I mean, just look at that perfect square. That is quite fun to watch. You know what, that looks okay. It's a little bit sort of ET-esque. I've got no clue where to put the power plant. Let's just stick it over the face, no one will notice. Da Vinci often said he was inspired by generators. He was a little bit ahead of his time. Right, and this is where the magic happens. Just look at those perfect straight lines. I mean, I haven't seen what the thing looks like in daylight yet, so let's have a look. People often say the Mona Lisa's gaze is not unlike a power generator. You know what, weirdly, I don't think that's too bad. Their neck's a little bit long. I think I'd buy that and hang it up on the wall. I got too confident, I thought I could add detail and kind of shading. You know what, all in all, I think that does look adequate. Okay, I went to get a cup of tea. Lovely. I've got the generator room done, but I also need somewhere to put a place where water comes from. I've forgotten what it's called. I've generated a new set of emojis, and these are the 10 I've got. We could go for a skull, just to really confuse people, or I could go for a bell with a cross through it, just for the bell haters out there. I'm not sure I'm quite ready to do a cat. What is the 7th one? On, with an exclamation mark and an arrow pointing both left and right. It's just general enthusiasm. I think it could be funny to go for the oasis. You know what, let's do something logical. Right, so I'm going to build this off of the side. That is not symmetrical in any way at all. I sometimes can't even figure out what I'm doing wrong with these. You know what, sod symmetry, I'm just going to keep this as it is. Just so that I'm using up the whole thing, I'm going to put a door, I think, at the base and in the middle. Then I'll put a palm tree, and at the top of that I'll try and fit in some sort of, what do you call them, water generators? No, there's no such thing as a water generator. Where have I made that from? It worked for the electricity, so it just follows that if we fill the same thing with water, we've got a water generator. I'm not sure quite how this is going to turn out once it's got walls and an interior, but that kind of looks like a palm tree. This kind of looks quite nice. Kind of got a sand pit to play in a bit. Just before you go and fix the water machine. Why can't I remember the word for it? This isn't that difficult. Oh, it's a water pump. I will also try to improve the spanner a bit. I want to get a kind of shadow around the right side. I'm not sure whether that's much of an improvement. You know, now that it's day, that does not look like a palm tree. That's close enough. Okay, so fast forward a little bit, I've just added some beds. I'm a little bit confused. None of the rooms seem to be the right size. They've all got a little warning to say that they're not 2x3, but they are all larger than that, so it should be enough. God, I can already sense that someone's in the comments section telling me what I'm doing incorrectly. Okay, so things are pretty much set up for the prisoners to at least arrive and have somewhere to go, but very importantly, we do need a reception building for the prisoners to go when they first arrive, and these are the 10 emojis to choose from. There isn't a great selection here, nothing that's very manly. You can tell it's a prison by the nice flower next to the sunshine when you go in. The Skittles could be a good choice. Just really confuse people. Here's an idea, why don't we go for the hourglass? Just so they get to watch the time tick away as they sit in their cells. Once reception's all finished, I've got to build some sort of wall around the place so that people can't just wander out, of course. Oh my god, why am I struggling to make this symmetrical? Okay, I think I've got a decent general shape, I've just got to make the floors look decent. I've used a few brick walls on the base and some concrete walls in the middle, just so that it looks a bit different. I'm going to use some wooden floors on the base and the top, just to differentiate the actual glass and the kind of wooden material. Very technical speak. I think I'll use marble for the sand. You can't actually use sand or sandstone inside. Actually, I think for some light that might look okay. I have a feeling I'm putting way too many seats here. Yep, 24 places to sit for our maximum of 12 prisoners. They could have a kind of take your kids to work day. That might make some use out of all these seats. To be fair, I think it would be completely understandable if someone mistook this for a theme park. There's probably going to be a fair few families showing up to this. God, I'm not a nice person, am I? And this is brilliant. With the seating area where it is, you know how sometimes you might be sitting in some waiting area or like an office and there's a clock on the wall and you can't help but look at it and it feels like time's going so slow. Imagine that amplified like 100 times. You're in a literal hourglass. You know, with the furniture added, that doesn't actually look too bad. I think if you were forced to say what that building was and someone had like given you like a load of hints before, you would probably say an hourglass. And actually, I think I figured out what's wrong with these cells. The door counts as a part of the room, and because of that, the room supposedly isn't enclosed. This already looks awful. It's a bit like when people put stickers on the front of a high school locker or a lunchbox, but maybe like a 40-year-old criminal has decided to join in. Okay, so what we need next is the perimeter wall, as I mentioned, and this is the set of 10 emojis I have to choose from. It's really enjoying the hourglass. I'm not quite sure how I can make that into a perimeter. I quite like the idea of going for the cat, or we could go for an explosion. I think, though, I might go for the snake. That actually makes a lot of sense. I can kind of wrap a snake around the entire thing, so when you arrive at the entrance of the prison, it will look like a snake eating an hourglass. That might make a good tattoo, although the tattoo artist might be a bit confused when you ask for a spanner, the Mona Lisa, and a desert island. Someone's had a bit of a bad day. Right, so this snake needs to look quite menacing, just to fit in with the prison vibe. Who am I kidding? This is not a menacing prison. Why did I make it this shape? I've just like minimised the amount of stuff I can fit in here. This should have been a perfect square. But no, I just decided, oh, let's stick a weird corner around the left-hand side. That's awful. Why did I do that? I think for now this looks okay though. This should be about enough space to fit things in. I think our next priority should be to make a canteen, just so our prisoners don't, you know, immediately starve to death. Right, and this is the 10 emojis that I've got to pick from. A slice of cake would be a perfect thing to go for, but that makes far too much sense, so I'm not going to pick that one. Is that Clippy? Why is there an emoji for that weird paperclip with the eyes? It really wants me to confuse my prisoners into thinking that this room's a gym. Our choices include, is that a tennis racket and a basketball? No wait, those aren't tennis rackets and that's not a basketball, is it? Is that badminton? And the other one's, I don't know, volleyball? I might just be making things up again. Or I could go for the over 18s only emoji. Sorry, you must be 18 or over to eat in this place. No wait, hold on, do prisons even have people under the age of 18? Well, this is either completely cruel or completely redundant, so I'm picking the 18. Right, this is a real challenge. For this one, believe it or not, I'm gonna need to make a circle. If you ignore the sort of dimple, that actually looks okay. Okay, so the building's built. I need to add a crossed through the middle, and I think I'll add a red border around the outside just to clarify what exactly this is. Okay, that dimple is going to bug me. I'm going to add a few walls there that just go through the fence, just so that we can still have the perfect circle. I'm adding a saloon door, go for that kind of western feel, which maybe isn't acceptable in a prison. Presumably this prison has been commissioned by some sort of government. Why are they letting me get away with this? I realised I forgot to place one of the floors down so this thing isn't a perfect circle, but you know what, I think anyone who's bothered by that would have left a long time ago. I won't need too many tables, there are only 9 acceptable cells at the moment. 3 tables should just be enough to comply with that. And I'm not a monster, let's add a few potted plants. I have a feeling the food we serve up isn't going to be the greatest quality, so at least if they get peckish, there's something for them to eat. One of the workers has managed to trap themselves in, I see. Just a quick reminder, the workers are not that smart. That worker might get home after a week or so. His family, his children, his partner, they'll ask him, "Where have you been this last week?" And he'll have to turn around to them and say, "I placed a hedge in front of me and I couldn't get out of the corner." And we do now officially have some prisoners arriving. This is actually going okay. We have 9 prisoners in suitable places. We have a canteen, the reception and the holding cell for when they first arrive, and of course all of the water and electricity. But one optional room that I really want to add is probably the common room, and these are the 10 emojis we have to choose from. I could choose the pumpkin, but that's only relevant for 1 day of the entire year. Seeing as this generator really wants to make this prison as confusing as it can possibly be, I think for this one I might give in to its demands. Right, I've decided I'm going to build this common room in the shape of a knife and fork, just so that people wander around the prison thinking, "Oh gosh, where on earth do I go to eat?" And then they wander into the common room thinking they found the right place, and then they die. Just to fill in some space, and considering the shape of what I'm making, I'm going to build the foundation just here. This does not look like a knife and fork. The handle is way too short but also very wide, just for people with really huge hands who prefer to hold knives just between the thumb and forefinger. Oh, and the fork has 2 small prongs on either side and 1 huge one in the middle. Just to make it extra secure. Thank you guys. To be fair, it's me ordering them to build this. Hold on, is it my fault for all of this happening? Dang it. Come to think of it, this isn't enough space to fit much. Oh, I forgot to place foundations on 2 of the spots, so there's a tiny area with no roof at all. We couldn't pay for the full roof. It's the middle of the night, it's pouring outside, you run into the common room, you get in, you take off your coat and realise that there's no roof. Okay, I've added a ton of junk. At least there's not going to be any riots with all this fun stuff to look at. You know what, I fancy another cup of tea. Okay, so I went to get a cup of tea. I realise now that I forgot to link up one of the toilets, but that's fine. In fact, 4 of the cells are completely unusable. I'm hoping that maybe I can make this a little bit more kind of Spanish shaped. With a few small changes like that, I can increase my capacity from a shocking 9 to an even greater 13. I will also take this as a chance to increase the size of the prison a little bit. You know what, I'm feeling quite positive. I think I will fill in the snake with some grass. And although I don't feel that happy doing this, I'm going to free the trapped worker. I think it's been about a week of in-game time. I mean, at least he's diligent, I'll give him that. And we do need more workers that can last for weeks without food. I've been trying to think of a good excuse to use a footbridge. Footbridges just feel quite satisfying to me. I think with amazing and original anecdotes like that, I deserve a talk show. Now it's day, that actually does look okay. Just looking at some of the options that were available for me, I think next I should go for a yard. Okay, and these are the 10 emojis I have to work with. Once again, it really wants me to go for the hourglass. Isn't this the 3rd time I've got that? We could go for the factory. When they said there was a yard in this prison, I thought that was a place I could hang out with some friends, not an actual work yard. I don't think I've yet actually chosen a classic emoji of a face yet for any of these buildings. So for this next one, I'll go for the upside down smiley face. I just like the idea of someone threatening a new prisoner and saying that they're going to get absolutely beat down in the yard today, and they walk out and it's just a lovely happy face. Kind of ruins the mood a bit. Again, quite a difficult trial. I need to make a perfect circle, which I'm already messing up with. No, it was so close, but it's not going to be a perfect circle. I'm just thinking about it, and some of my content is a little bit more like something a 50-year-old mum would make, who thinks she's still cool and down with the kids. Some of my videos so far have been centralised around emojis and babies, which both aren't really the most popular thing. He looks like a happy chap. I think this is looking okay. There's quite a gap between the smile and the actual eyes, but apart from that I think it's okay. Hold on, this yard's just a giant sand pit, but the prisoners will love it. They get to build sand castles, play with their friends. I'm just trying to make sure that this video can still be monetized. I'm struggling to figure out where to fit benches and things. Message to future me, can you flip over the screen with like a cool sound effect so I can see the face in its normal way up? I think flipped upside down this might look a bit more like an Angry Bird, once again really appealing to the youth. I just mentioned one of those computer games that you can play on your mobile computer phones. Oh, okay, we do have our first death. There isn't a riot, so I don't think it can be any real serious issue. I think that it may be time for perhaps the most important room in a prison, That's right, we're going to build the garbage room. We've got a great selection of emojis to choose from. The generator definitely agrees with me that the garbage room is a sight to behold. I mean, there's 2 stacks of cash, diamond, vast expanse of space. I think it's fair if we go for the diamond. I really want to put as much effort as I can into making this perfect. I am ashamed to say that the garbage room does not look that great. But you know what, I'm not giving up on this. I've tried adding a little bit of detail to make it look like it has some shine to it. Oh, this just looks kind of veiny, for lack of a better word, with the moss. That doesn't look great. Well, I've had some time to think. I believe that we should leave the garbage room behind us. I don't know why I'm pulling you into this. And we should build perhaps a staff room. And these are our choices for the staff room. Nothing really jumps out at me here. I think maybe let's continue on the theme of just confusing our prisoners as much as we can. We did use a knife and fork for the common room. This time I think we should use a shower head for the staff room, which will probably get a few prisoners in trouble. A guard goes back to get a cup of coffee and finds a naked man in the staff room. Why is it covered in moss already? That's ridiculous. The builders must have just shoveled a bunch of moss off of the ground and decided instantly there's no possible place that they could put it and just chucked it straight back on the wall. This room isn't even big enough to fit everything I need. I'm gonna need to put a little extension on. It's a little bit worrying that some of the guards are so injured. I mean, to be fair, they haven't sat down in months. They've been in the building this entire time, none of them have left. I mean, I've built some sofas, but they don't even seem to like that. They must just really believe in the good work I'm doing here. In a weird way, I think this looks kind of cozy though. I've added a TV, a couple of sofas. I probably wouldn't mind hanging out there. And I think it might finally be time for a footbridge. It's so unnecessary, but so beautiful. I mean, look at that, doesn't that look great? Look, all the prisoners are using it. It feels great to make someone's day better. Okay, I've made a few more improvements to the prison. Now I want to work on building the Warden's office, which unlocks a ton of new stuff, even though I'll probably not get around to using them. How is this already 3 hours of footage? Am I that slow? Okay, so these are the options for the Warden's office. We could go for a hospital. That would really confuse some people. I feel that maybe I'm ready for a bit of a challenge. I'm actually going to go for the cat. I feel that my artistic ability has improved so much, so I'm going to go for it. Okay, so I think that we should start with the legs. This already does not look like a cat. I'll tell you what this looks like. It looks like a wall. Of course, by far the most spacious room I'm making is for the Warden. Well, these people are impressive at getting through walls. Of course, we want the Warden's office to be as luxurious as possible, because old middle-class white people really have things hard. I think the eyes pop out a bit too much. It looks like it's watching me. This is like 10 times the size of the staff room, and this is just for one man. Now that it's day, I don't actually think this looks too bad. And there's our Warden, making himself at home. The Warden looks like an incredibly boring person. I'm just going to add as many boring things as I can. I'm going to trap the Warden in his place with a bunch of cookers. Oh no, he managed to escape. The entire prison has seemed to have lost all power. I'm guessing that a few capacitors should just fix that. I'm going to be honest, I've got no idea what's wrong with the power. I've added a lot of capacitors, I've even tried a second generator, but that doesn't seem to be fixing it. Maybe a cup of tea will help me think. Okay, I got another cup of tea. Quick update, it seems that making a new generator seems to have fixed things. I'm not entirely sure what was going wrong, but this seems to be fixing it. Although that does make the generator room completely redundant. Okay, a few things seem to be going wrong. I think we need to salvage this and build some new building. Okay, one room that we are missing that is quite important is just a simple gym. Okay, and these are our choices. I swear every time so far it's generated some sports-related emoji, but of course on the time it's actually relevant it doesn't. We've got a hand that's sweating so much that waves of sweat seem to be flying off of it. We have a bar chart, although I think the average person who uses a gym wouldn't know what that is. I'm so sorry. Maybe I'll go for the winking kiss face. It would just be nice to have another traditional emoji on the board. I can't believe I'm saying that. I've never said a sentence like that in my life. When I started making videos, I thought I'd be making cool modded Skyrim things or whatever, not debating which emojis are more traditional. This does of course mean I have to return to the challenge of creating a perfect circle. Okay, so I've got the main circle all done. I will start this time with the gym equipment, with some really close benches. These benches are way too close. You would have the feet of the person in front of you, like around your body. I'm adding a ton of equipment to this one, probably more than I need. Oh right, I need to make this look like a face, I almost forgot. I probably should have thought of that before I added a huge boxing ring in the middle. Maybe I can fit the heart on the right and a tiny bit of a mouth on the left. Okay, no, that doesn't work. This mostly just looks like someone's not that great at eating chocolate. With the gym built, I think it might be time to move on to a shower room. I've realised that I probably should have built a shower quite a long time ago. The stench here would be pretty horrendous. And these are the choices? Who on earth is the guy on the right? Wait, hold on, the fifth one? Is there actually an emoji for 69? Oh, it's Cancer, the star sign. I think for this one I want to go a bit more ambitious. I've got no idea what the third one is, but I'm gonna pick that and try and fit as much detail in as I can. This looks something like a military commander in a high chair eating some sort of takeaway. Okay, I think this seems like a decent size. I'm trying out a few different materials for the background just to get this perfect. Those hands aren't quite the right proportions. Okay, maybe this isn't quite as easy as I thought it would be. I've tried out a few designs and it feels like this one works quite well. I just searched up what this one is and it's an emoji for customs. Did not know there was one of those. Pops up a lot in regular conversations. Feel free to take a shower in the customs office, but bear in mind you will be searched. I think I'll make this the last building I make. I'm fairly pleased with what I've done today. I'm a little bit worried that there are so many deaths. We've just had 2 in a day, which seems like a great note to end it on. You know what, the way I see it, I've got about 200 grand remaining. There are no other buildings I particularly want to make, so I'll just spend it all on one particular object. And what better to use it on than statues of our fair Warden? Well, that covers about 2/3 of the place anyway. Wait, hold on. I've just noticed that all of the trucks come from the north. The only statues they're going to see are like the 10 on the top left. That was kind of pointless. So we love the Warden, we just don't love him too much. Well, I think I will add a few more small details and then perhaps I will leave it there for today. And there's a special surprise to end. It turns out we have enough deaths to make some gravestones. A lovely place to end this. And I think it might finally be time for a drawbridge. What on earth did I mean by that?